Hey, it's Julie Hutchison from Think, Be, Do Leadership, and it's day 12 of Communication Fest, our 30 days of communication, and tips and hints on how to be a better communicator in your business as a leader to get better results in your business. So today, like I said, day 12. This is one that's after my own heart, really, and that is the subject of saying nothing is actually saying something. And the reason why I think this is important is because so many times I hear people say to me, well, I didn't do anything, or I didn't say anything to that person, or it wasn't me, it's all their fault. And so in this element of communication, what I'm talking about is this feeling like I haven't done anything wrong or I haven't done anything right, I haven't done anything, is actually not the case, because by doing nothing, we're doing something. And therefore, we are still communicating, we are still having an impact. And the reason why this has become quite big on my mind, I suppose, recently, is because I was mediating between two managers. So, responsible people. I was mediating between two managers, and both of them were in the stage of, let's say, arms. I can't do it on here. Arms folded. It's not my fault. It's the other person's fault. She's not very nice, and it was so funny because neither of them wanted to take responsibility for the impact on the other person. Yet, when both of them said I didn't do anything, actually, it was the act of not doing something that riled the situation, that made them to feel uncomfortable with each other, to misunderstand each other, and to basically get really annoyed with each other. Because what happens is when we do nothing, then the other person has a couple of options. One is to ask, which is unlikely because it's an awkward situation. The other is to do what they think is right. And the other one is to make up a story in our own head. And it's not like we mean to do it, but we do it. Is make up a story in our own head about what you thought or what you meant. Okay, so when we're not clear in our communication, the other person has to fill in the gaps for us and makes up something. And that always lends itself to a little bit of danger, because if you think about it, if we know what we meant or what we're thinking, but we don't say it, then the other person can only go by our behavior or previous behavior or whatever it might be, or just how they feel. And they come up with these things that are probably fairly negative. And so by saying nothing or doing nothing, we're actually allowing for those gaps to come in. But also, we might think we haven't said or done anything, but actually our behavior, one little look in our eye or one little roll of an eye, because people do, or just walking the other way, or something that we're doing that feels like nothing to us, is incredibly obvious to the other person that something's not right. Okay, or even something is right, because people can see through just the words. It's not just about the words. And we talk about body language. I don't want to go into like what is body language, the same old stuff, but what I want to talk about is our awareness of our impact when we do not say or actually do anything. Because the reason why I want us to talk about it in this way is because we have a responsibility as leaders to understand our impact and to look at things from many different perspectives. So yes, we can look for our own perspective. That's nice and easy, isn't it? That's the way I see the world, so it must be right. But as leaders in our business, we need to be looking at, well, hold on, how do other people see me? How do other people see a situation? And the reason why this is important is because they've got good ideas out there that you might not have, but also we need to not be blinded or have a blind spot, let's say, on what we're doing and what that impact that has. Because when we have a blind spot on it, we think everything's hunky-dory, we think we've done a good job, or maybe we just try and convince ourselves we've done a good job, or we've said the right thing. When if we were to open those blinkers and start to look from different perspectives, we would see that actually the impact of us might not be the way we thought it was going to be, or the way we would want it to be. And so what I'm talking about here is us getting really, really aware of the impact that we're having. And specifically today is this impact of saying and doing nothing. It's like when it's like when your kids don't say anything to you. You know that they've got a mood on about something. You know it, but you can't tell because they're not saying anything. And so, or when your husband or wife or significant other says things are fine, and you know they're not fine. And this is because people see through it. So when we think that we've said nothing or done nothing, actually it's all of those other things put together: the body language, that look that we can give, that will give people an indication of how you really feel. Sometimes without you knowing it, sometimes without you thinking that you haven't said or done anything. And that means that we're not taking responsibility because we're not looking from different perspectives. We're not looking at what's the bigger picture around my impact. And if we don't do that, then we don't know what it is. We're blind to it, and everybody else can see straight through it. And you don't want that for your business, do you? You don't want that people are looking at you, knowing what you're thinking, or making it up in their own minds, filling in the gaps. And you're not in control of that, which means that you've got more conflict, less understanding, more misunderstandings, more people just going ahead and utilizing that lack of communication for their own agenda, let's say, because then they go off and do their own thing, which means that the reality is you're out of control of the impact of people in your business, which you don't want, do you? Yeah. So saying nothing is not saying nothing. Saying nothing is actually saying something. So it's like a riddle for the day. But what I want you to think about is, how often do you perhaps go into a meeting and say nothing? What impact is that? You know, when everybody around you is having a conversation and you don't go in and say anything. What do people make of that? What's the presumption that people make because you don't go in and say something? Or what if you're the person who always speaks? Yeah. And then you don't one day. What's the presumption they're going to make? So we're looking at it from this, like, if you do nothing or you say nothing, there's still an impact. Yeah. Imagine you say, oh, I'm not going to interfere in what they're doing. I'm just going to sit in my office and let them get on with it. Well, there's still an impact there. There's still an unread message that you're giving somebody and the team. And that message might be, I don't know, a really proactive one, like, I trust you and I want you guys to get on with it. Okay. So still saying nothing is saying something. So it's still a message. Everything is always a message, because by being where we are, and I often say this, every contact leaves a trace. If you have a contact with somebody in some way, whether it be that they see you in your office, or they see you walking around the shop floor, or they see you talking to somebody and not them, then every single thing you do will either have a positive or negative impact on, you know, the trace that you're leaving. Yeah, it's like brushing up somebody and leaving. They leave something on you, and you leave something on them. So every contact leaves a trace, and every nothing leaves a trace as well. So I want you to get your head around that today and think to yourself, of all the things that I do or I don't do, or I say or I don't say, focus on the ones where you chose not to do something, or you chose to step back, you chose not to be involved in something. Was that a good impact? Was it not? I don't know. You need to just understand which one was it for you. Okay, so spend a day or a week even noticing yourself and seeing what impact you have. So that's day 12, Communication Fest, is saying nothing is saying something. If you would like some help with understanding your communication style and improving your communication and impact in your business or for your team, then give me a shout, message me, and we can get you started with the confident communication program. Take care. We'll see you soon.